What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is of course all about classic bodybuilding, and this is actually my first back workout since coming back from the Romania Pro. So this is going to be the first rebound workout, as of course I've upped my caloric intake, especially the carbs, lowered the protein just a little bit, but mostly the carbs to make sure to have a proper rebound. I'm going to stay a little lean for a while because I'll actually do a guest posing at the William Bona Classic on November 23rd, but I can already feel all the carbs converging into the muscle. And hey, we're also doing a converging lat pull down as the first exercise, and I'm actually working out with my dad right here. This is a different gym from what you're used to seeing because this is a gym local to where my parents live, about 40 minutes driving from 100% Fit Gym where I work out at every day. But sometimes it's nice for my parents to actually, for me to drive to their place to actually work out there, so that's easier sometimes, and it's nice to switch environments as well, and to work out with different machines, such as this Converging Lat Pulldown. I just did 3 sets, and you just saw set number 3 being the heaviest one, going to failure at around 10 reps. And when you go to failure, sometimes it's difficult to actually contract the back to the fullest because you can do a lot of weight then, but you cannot get that final few inches of contraction what you do need for that back thickness. The more you can contract the back, the better it will be for growth of the back thickness. So I'm actually doing a so-called back off set with less weight, more reps, but with a more complete range of motion, so you can actually contract the back to the max with that same angle of exercise. And when that's done, the entire exercise is complete and you move on to the next one. And the next one is actually an assisted pull-up machine. I have this one at my gym as well. Well, not this exact machine because I actually prefer the one at my gym. That's by Techno Gym, the brand, and it has a bigger, a longer range of motion because here I have to be on my knees, and when I go all the way upwards, the machine actually stops, the stack hits the bottom actually already, and that's not what you want because you cannot really get a full contraction that way. So I had to shift my grip a little bit to be able to contract the back to the max. You can see that I'm not keeping my upper body upright totally. I'm actually angling it towards my chest, allowing me to fully contract the shoulder blades together, because when you actually contract and pull together the shoulder blades, that's when you know you are contracting the rhomboids, aka the middle part of your back, which gives you that good 3D effect of back thickness, which is what I want to work on more. Judging from the pictures I saw at the Romania Pro, the back, especially since I'm quite tall, can improve in terms of thickness for sure. The width is pretty much there, especially from the front, but we all know the width can never be enough, but I am focusing on the back thickness. And you can see that here that I'm really focusing on the contraction part. Of course, the full range of motion is very important by stretching out all the way to the bottom, because the better the stretch is, the better the contraction will be. But when I go all the way up, I make sure to contract the traps and the rhomboids for maximum thickness hypertrophy. Now that we properly warmed up the back with 2 pull down exercises, and by the way, they might be pull down exercises, but I try to kind of make them a combination of a pull down and a row, because the moment that I contract those rhomboids, I really feel it like I would feel it in a row. But now I'm doing an actual row exercise, one of the best ones out there, the Barbell Row. And since I just got out of the competition, I'm not at full strength yet, so I know that I shouldn't push myself with too heavy of a weight. So I'm actually here also wearing the Vintage Genetics leather weightlifting belt to protect the lower back a little bit. But here I'm doing 100 kilograms of the Barbell Row, really focusing on being able to fully contract that middle back. Some people you see them actually doing the movements like quick jerk movements, trying to row up the weight, but without actually getting a mind-muscle connection inside the back. So take it from me, I have worked out like that for many years, and then I got a big back in terms of width, but almost no back thickness, and you can only get the thickness by a full and proper contraction. And once you get that going, you can increase the weight by a lot more, actually improving hypertrophy by adding weight, progressive overload, but mostly full range of motion. And this is a machine I really like as well. It is a chest supported wide grip row. The wider that your grip is, the more the tension shifts towards the inside of your back. So if you know that the inside thickness is lagging a little bit, that's where you need to do a wider grip. And also the seat here is very important. If you sit down too low, you will actually hit the rear delts and the traps too much. So you want to sit up nice and high so that the handles actually go past your sides, you know, kind of like at your hip bones, to make sure that you actually hit those middle back muscles, the rhomboids that you want to hit. And if you look closely, you can really see that the traps and the rhomboids are working together and squeezing and contracting at the maximum rep when you're hitting the full range of motion, because if you don't hit that, you simply don't get the maximum out of that exercise. And of course, when doing a back workout, sometimes you have to do some poses actually to increase the mind and muscle connection to the back while doing the poses. So for people who have trouble posing, especially doing a lat spread, which a lot of people have connection to the lats, they need to improve it. Do it when your back is pumped up, because that will actually make you aware of where the back muscles are, and it makes it easier to contract and flex the back the proper way. Then the final back exercise is the hyperextension. I'm going to do 3 sets of this, pretty much all of them going to failure. Even without weight, it's a pretty heavy exercise, pretty challenging exercise if you do it the correct way. You can see that my glutes and hamstrings are not doing any of the work. It simply is purely the lower back. And that's what I'm working here, really working on that Christmas tree. Those muscles are the ones contracting right now, also near the spine, of course. And I'm adding only 10 kilograms at a maximum, and you can see that I'm only able to hit a couple of full range of motion reps here. And the moment that the contraction part, as you can see right here, is starting to get a little lessened, then I drop the weight so I actually hit a few more reps, getting that maximum contraction on the hyperextension. And another reason for doing this exercise, of course, is when I watched myself pose at the Romania Pro, and by the way, you can watch that at the previous video, the part 2 of the Romania Pro experience that I have on my YouTube channel. You can see when I'm doing the Christmas tree pose with my lower back, you can see a lot of detail and striations, but the thickness there can improve by quite a lot. And I simply will need that at the Olympia stage level by actually beating a lot of the guys who have great backs, but I will be unique with actually showcasing some details in the lower back as well. So I want to go for that combination of showing deep striations, a full Christmas tree with the added thickness. And then we're going to do some barbell curls. Even though biceps are one of my stronger muscle groups, I still will not neglect them, because if you have strong muscle groups, sometimes you see bodybuilders stop training them at all, being afraid that they overpower the rest of their physique. But it really depends on which muscle it is, because with the biceps you cannot really get too big biceps. They cannot really get too big, because just look at Arnold. He still is an iconic figure because he had those enormous biceps. Of course, you need to be balanced with big triceps as well, which is why I train triceps twice as much as biceps throughout the week. But when I do hit biceps, I go all out. And the first exercise I'm doing right here, as you can see, is the barbell curl. Grabbing the barbell a little wider than shoulder width, literally just 1 inch wider or so, to be able to hit those biceps and stretch them to the max, and going as heavy as possible while staying around 10 reps during the first 2 sets, and then I'm going to hit around 6 to 7 reps during the last set, because the biceps can take quite a beating, especially if you don't have any trouble with your tendons, because you got to look out. The tendon connecting the bicep to the forearm might be a little sensitive to heavier weights, but usually that gets damaged or worn by actually doing heavier back exercises the wrong way. So not by doing the actual bicep exercises, because the load on that muscle is a lot less than, for example, doing very heavy TOR rows or even doing some deadlifts the wrong way. So you want to look out with that. But if you don't have any bicep troubles at all, you want to hit them with as much weight as possible and combine it with some volume, which I'm going to do right here with the concentration curl. Another 3 sets And this concentration curl is called the concentration curl because you're able to concentrate on one arm at a time, and especially on the peak contraction of that bicep. So what you want to do is really hit a full range of motion, but you have to put your arm against your leg in a way so that it is angled forward a little bit. You don't want to let your arm hang down freely unless you have great mind-muscle connection over your bicep. But when you're sitting down, you want to have your arm against your leg like this, so the tension will still be on the bicep when you go all the way down. You can see it very clearly here in my right bicep actually. When I'm going all the way down, the striation at the top of my bicep still is there. It would not be there if the tension was gone. And you can also see that I'm hitting a weight heavier than I usually like to hit, that I'm used to hitting. Usually it's around 10 to 12 kilos, but I'm actually taking advantage of some of the strength gains after such a long period of being low strength from the contest prep. So when you're able to safely hit a heavy weight with full range of motion without any complications or injuries or pains, then you should do that. But then again, hit those with quite high volume beforehand so you're properly warmed up, as I am right now. And another benefit of the concentration curl is it's a unilateral exercise, so one arm at the same time, allowing you to go past failure safely by allowing your other arm to help the working arm. And the last bicep exercise of the day is hammer curls. Now, I really like to do the barbell curls and the concentration curls by getting a peak contraction in the bicep. But what you shouldn't forget is that the bicep thickness, the width of the bicep from the front view, like when you're standing in a front relaxed and on stage, for example, that's actually increased by doing hammer curls, by pumping up that brachialis muscle that is laying below the biceps and comes out at the side. You can see it right here. In between the bicep and the tricep, the usual bicep that you know, you can see the brachialis muscle being pumped up by doing this exercise. And the bigger that one becomes, the bigger your entire biceps become and the wider they become from the front view as well. So a tip when looking in the mirror and you're standing with your arms relaxed, just straight down, and your arms, your biceps especially, are really thin. A tip would be to do hammer curls more often and prioritize them in your training if you do have a great bicep peak, that is. Because if you don't have a great bicep peak, then it's simply more about developing your biceps in general. But if you have a great bicep and you're flexing it in a front double bicep, but your bicep width from the front is pretty lacking, then doing hammer curls would help that, and also doing some, of course, tricep exercises to thicken up your entire arm will help as well. Alright, now this is interesting. I'm right here doing some vacuum exercises. I have been doing this for months now. After every single workout, I'm doing this exact routine. So first I'm holding my breath for 30, holding the vacuum for 30 breaths. And you're holding your breath for as much as possible, so it's very shallow breaths. Then I'm doing leg sweeps while holding the vacuum, and every time you breathe it's very shallow, so you don't breathe into your stomach, you breathe into your rib cage. And after that I'm doing some knee raises, doing the same thing, and then from each side holding the vacuum for the maximum result from each and every angle, which bodybuilding is all about. And most importantly, it enhanced my ability to hold the vacuum on stage, which is something very important for my physique. Alright guys, we just finished the back and bicep workout, and I just did the vacuum exercises that you saw, and right after that, like it's not even a minute later, I'm already going to have my whey protein isolate from Become Gladiator, my own brand, Gladiator Pro isolate. No lactose, no fat, no carbs, pure protein. There's 40 grams of whey isolate in here, vanilla flavor. The color is like this because I like to add some cinnamon for insulin sensitivity. But right after the workout, I always take this protein. Why? Because it digests the fastest of every protein you can get. Complete amino acid profile, all essential amino acids. Combine this with a proper wholesome meal after this. and you will get the most benefits out of the workout. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.